Moscow. Certain things have happened in the meantime, and I decided I'm here to slaughter somebody. So, but to start, there's some newspaper clippings here. I came to Canada 26th of October 1953. On the 3rd of December, I heard about the Daily Mail newspaper in England, on the radio, CBC radio evening news, that they're going to form an expedition to go to the Himalayas looking for the abominable snowman. I said to the dairy farmer I worked for, west of Calgary, I said, gee, wouldn't that be something to go on a trip like this? And he said, they got something like it in British Columbia. From then on, I pestered the hell out of him. But he didn't know very much about it. 1954, I came to BC. I heard, asked around a little bit, 55, did a little more. And in 1956, according to this clipping, it's June the 14th, so it might be June the 10th, was the first time I came to Harrison Hot Springs. So I consider that this is really the time of the beginning. Do you know how long that is? That's 40 years. That's longer than most of you in here, or many of them are alive. Many of them you here weren't adults then. You know what 40 years means? When I started in 1956, the Sasquatch was an Indian legend down here at the Chehalis Indian Reservation. A few stories here and there. The Ruby Creek Report, I mean, the odd little magazine article, nothing was known about the Sasquatch. I mean, we didn't know that they had one of them down in Washington and Oregon, never mind California or any place else in North America. So I started out, talk about being naive, talk about being gullible, and like all beginners, I knew they had a migration route across the Fraser River on mile 12 up from Bridal Falls. After, a short time, I knew all about it. And of course, the older you get, the more you learn, the more it just doesn't work that way. But I made all the mistakes that have been made. And I learned, not like some people. And I'm a very practical person. I have no degrees, I have no PhD, thanks God for that. I started out with a blank mind. Now you can leave a blank or you can fill it. It's true. When you start out with a PhD, you only got about 60 strikes against you. Because you know all about it. Instead of starting out with a blank mind and then slowly fill it, very selective, very critical and analytical. So I am fortunate in this, that all the information which came in, and you haven't got a clue how much there is, was dribbled into my head drop by drop by drop, so I could absorb it. If anybody in the last 10, 15 years starts out on this, he doesn't have a damn chance. For the very simple reason that there's so much of it, such a huge pile of stuff, which you can't absorb, because when you dig around here trying to absorb this, there's already more being dumped on top of you. As I told Danny here, I said, look, you're making a grave mistake running all across North America, digging around, getting involved with sightings here, there, and all over. Today, if you want to be somebody, concentrate on this one state and be an expert on every report in California, and that's a hell of a job. Just so you know about every sighting, you dig around down there, you investigate every report, stay in like a hunter. There are hunters who run all over hell's half bloody acre, and the other guy goes to the same place year after year after year, and the longer you go in, the more you will learn, till it get to the point you say on November the 12th, I go out there and pop up a deer, because that's where they are. That's the same with reports. You can't absorb this damn stuff. You just can't absorb it anymore. And furthermore, I don't do Sasquatch research when my job allows it, my wife and kids, my dog, my car payment, and all that crap. That all went down by the wayside. And I focused total, absolute. I don't think there was a day in this 40 years when I didn't think about Sasquatch. I have a job where I don't have to think. I just do it. You know, it helps a lot. So, as I tell the guys, if you would have to pay me for my thinking, you couldn't afford me. So, I take the sighting reports, I dissect it. What you think today, I probably thought about it, threw it out, dissected, shortened it out like a butcher, and ended up with what I thought is reasonable. So, Grover Krantz says, I do 10% of my time. Yeah, well, you know, with his little brain, that's not very much. But, and the major fault in this research is that if you want to know something, you have to concentrate. If you want to be an expert on Operation Barbarossa when Germany went into Poland and into Russia, you damn well can't also read fiction or something. You have to, either you're a historian who concentrate on certain things. That's what this is all about. If you don't, you pick this and this and this and this and you come up with wild statements. So what I'm going to do today, I heard everybody talking about this goddamn Grover Krantz. And I am fed up.
Hey, Rene, if you're going to talk against somebody, you should talk against somebody who's here, not against people who are not here to defend themselves.
In court, if you have documents, I'm going to quote Grover Krantz. I'm not doing it behind his back. He knows. He's smoking over there, the smoke coming out of his ears. I'm going to quote his book, his statements in the press, just like the O.J. Simpson trials. I'm going to present the evidence right to the end, and I'm going to convict them.
They didn't convict O.J.
Yeah.
But I'm going to convict him. Here. I'm going to be, I tried to be very nice to Grover over the years. I said, look, but I wouldn't do this. I'm not such a nasty guy, you know. But this guy is so condescending, so totally egomaniac, that I have to kick him. I can't help myself. That's why the woman made this trap. He wrote Duck didn't say that, a very condescending letter. Just like, hey, I'm Grover. Who the hell are you? And so anyway, it has not only chopping this guy down, I'm going to chop down untold so-called evidence. Total, absolute, if you want to see the truth, and factual. If you want to live in your dream world, well, ignore it. I made a little poster, very nasty. Here. I thought was appropriate. Above. Here.
What do the Canadians fit in all this?
Well, he's posting that 2 years ago, Grover Krantz was here. Rene dahinden also gave a presentation about the 87 tracks from Walla Walla, at which time Grover Krantz did not question, respond, or say anything about it. So even if he were here today, more than likely he would not say anything. So let's continue on.
Okay. I'm not debating opinions. I'm debating evidence. And in order to, look, as Barbara said, in order to understand, I concentrate a large amount of my effort. Well, as I go down the road, we have an incredible information service among ourselves. You haven't got a clue. When somebody wipes his nose in Vermont, we know about it if he's involved in this research. Stacks of material, computer forms, just like the KGB, FBI, and USSS, Ubandi Secret Service, all rolled in one. So, you know, so we are not sitting here making up our opinion because we don't like this guy. There are many people out there I really don't like, but they do good investigations. So you pat them on the back for that. You know. In order, I'm not talking about the sighting reports, because as Barbara says, I mean, there are good people, bad people, but what I find is bad in this research, and damn it, instead of getting better, it gets worse day by damn day. It's the researchers who are pushing their own little agenda. I don't know what the hell it is with some of them. Their own little, they want to prove this or that, or peddle some other ideas, instead of, you know, stick with it. So I found, since this is a huge country, if you want to know about sightings in Michigan, in Indiana, Northern California, here and there, and this person or that person investigated them, you want to know, just like a police officer, if you investigate a crime and you have other fellow officers, you don't want some choker around you who takes one look at something and jumps to a conclusion and trying to convict somebody, and you then have to go and clean up his damn mess. You want to know if that person is reliable. You know, if you can trust him with his thing. So let me talk about Grover Krantz. And I really till a few hours ago, I didn't know what the hell to do, but certain things have happened now which are just mind-boggling. Grover Krantz appeared on the scene. Roger Patterson made this movie. Grover went and saw him, someplace 68, 69 in there. Patterson told me Grover came, and Grover went on a television program with him or two. And Grover immediately told Roger that the film was real. And Roger said to me, I forgot where it was, someplace in Yakima, Bossburg, wherever. He said, boy, that guy is gullible. He came, he saw it, and he announced it real, without any further question. 1970 came along. Remember this December 69 footprints, the Bossburg tracks? I was there. I did the investigation. I covered up some of these tracks, actually 3 of them. When Grover came, there were 1 of them there. He came, he saw the track, which I covered up, went home, and talked to the newspaper, told them all he knew. That was in January. In March, they published a 4-page article of Grover's conclusion. You know? And then he went home and wrote a scientific paper about it. He already then called it Gigantopithecus. He already, you see, very important. I think the guy was looking for something, and he already, right at the very beginning, he made up his mind that whatever the hell this is, it's Gigantopithecus. And because the newspaper accounts. Then, that was in the spring of 1970. Marx found handprints in 70, in the summer. Grover came, declared them real. They were fakes, blatant fakes. Grover made a movie, Marx made a movie that fall. Grover came, declared it real. 71 came along. Remember Arden? Remember Arden? Ray Pickens? Hip-hop through the tulips with 3 fake tracks? February 25th, 71. Who do you guess made scientific announcements? So far, said Krantz, the hunter has been identifying the tracks of 5 different individuals. The new tracks are from what he believes the 6th individual. Now there were the Bosberg tracks, 3 picking tracks, that makes 4. Maybe the guy can't count. And anyway, down here he says something to the effect, we call them the gang of 4. Talking about the hunter film, he said the hunter film, which he has yet been released, probably shows an incredible big human-like shape with brown and dark hair and heavily developed muscles, shoulders and muscles, arms. You know? So they were faked. Remember the Frank White film?
1977.
1977? Krantz went there too, and there probably I missed 20 of them in between. I'm leading up to what has happened. 1977, October I think it was. That was a story which nobody knows. How Frank White got in touch with me. Anyway, Frank White, him and his wife danced around the bush in a gorilla suit and filmed Bigfoot. Krantz came along, and he wasn't shy. He even wrote a letter, January the 17th, 1975. I'm one of these guys that collect everything, you know. Oh, here he says, there are 3 possibilities. Someone walked by in a fursuit to fool you. You arranged the hoax. It was a Sasquatch. There are problems with all 3. After reviewing the object, blah, 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 I will personally lean in favor of the authenticity of the film showing a real Sasquatch. He even says that you can make copies and send them all to your friends. So he fell in for another fake. We already more or less established that it was fake. Frank White says he filmed it on Mount Baker. Well, Frank White filmed it on the Lummi Indian Reservation. Cliff Cook and I went there. Cliff Cook found the shop where the fursuit was rented. We went down, looked at the damn rented camera before we even announced anything. But there was Grover again. Remember 78? When Frank White gave his little speech, Grover Krantz snuck out the back because he was ashamed. The hell with it, I'm doing it. As Mao Zedong says, well, if you destroy somebody, destroy him total. I found the other day in my file a letter. I got so much stuff that sometimes I find stuff and say, what the hell is this here? Stuff I don't even know I have anymore. Someplace along the line, Roger Patterson gave me a copy of this letter, written by Grover Krantz. September the 22nd, 1970. You can look at it, compare the signature, take it to the FBI or wherever the hell you want to test it. Here he says, in 1953, I first heard about the reports of this giant man-like creature in western North America. Now, you know, 1953, I don't know. But what really blew my mind, September 1970. Thus far, I have examined plaster casts of footprints of 17 different individuals, of 17 different Sasquatch. Observed and cast one print myself, fine, and have seen photographs of tracks and track casts of at least 50 more. The way I read it and everybody else that by September 22nd, 1970, he examined the tracks of 67 Sasquatch. Right? I doubt if we even had cast of 10 of them at that time. What is this? What really burns me up is, in his book, quote, unquote, unquote, but I have this basic personality fault of being honest. I read that I don't know how many times. one time in his book. That guy sounds like Nixon. You know, if you think I'm nasty, it's a long time coming. So that's all fine, okay. You know, I'm not nitpicking. I'm a really nasty guy. When I read the book, I read it again and again and again. I use 2 highlighter pens in here to highlight all the insanity. So that was, we all talked to Grover, you know, tried to talk to him. Just, you know. 89, well, that's later, let's start. Then Freeman came along. That's what I'm leading up to. 10th of what, July? 92? June?
May, June.
June.
82.
Freeman was, this Paul Freeman down Waller, was hired as a temporary, not as a Forest Service, temporary patrolman to patrol the border of the watershed, either on horseback or by pickup. Checking so nobody goes in there and camps or whatever. Nonsense, you know. But anyway. And no sooner was he on the damn job, he saw Bigfoot. Barbara there was probably the first one who talked to him. He saw it one day. Somebody else phoned me that night. I phoned Barbara because she was close. She went there 2 or 3 days later. She phoned me back. She interviewed Freeman. She interviewed Wes Summerlin and told me, forget it. You know, just forget it. Then 6 days later, he found some more tracks. This time the famous Thermal Ridge cast. That's one of them, if I'm correct. I call them, if you look at them, the Bavarian sausage tracks. You know? Look at it. But anyway, and then there was no end to Grover. We tried to tell him, because in 80, I said, I think it was last year, the year before, that I didn't go to Pullman till 87. I was wrong. I went and saw Freeman in Camas, and then we drove out to Walla Walla for the day or 2, and we couldn't go up in the hills because there was still snow, was in April or whenever. So I was there before. And I, on the way home, I think it was then, I would have, didn't look the note. I went and talked to Freeman, I talked to the Forest Service. Wherever I went, the Forest Service said, no, these tracks are fake. The Border Patrol told him they're fake, and he just wouldn't listen. He just damn well wouldn't listen. He immediately declared them real. Run all over the damn countryside. I have a letter here Grover sent out. During the week of February 1st to 5th, 1983, I was in Washington, D.C. with casts of the Sasquatch Bigfoot booklet from Walla Walla, June the 17th, 82. Anyway, I took this cast to Washington, D.C., and by the way, what I really floored it, is it in here? Must be another one. Apparently the university gave him $350 to go over there, paid his travel expenses. He went and saw the FBI, he saw the Smithsonian Institute, the National Geographic. Presented this Walla Walla tracks as proof of the existence of the Sasquatch. Then he went and sent them to fingerprints experts all over the damn place. He traveled to China. He went to Moscow on the way home. He went, I think, twice to England. I know he was there once. He went to France, all across the U.S. with the stamp tracks. In the meantime, Freeman down there is clumping around with more, whatever, more fake tracks. We go down there. Burns sees fake tracks. Hugen says he saw fake tracks. Forgot. I saw fake, I don't know who else was all there. You know, every one of them declared the stamp tracks faked. Not this, just this. Everything produced in Walla Walla. Then he produced the video cassette. Then he brings you a videotape, another one. He lied there. He said, I was by myself in the truck driving up middle, were you ever there? That road, it's just one road to get up in the hill, very narrow and so. I was alone, I was picking mushrooms up there, probably them psychedelic ones. I talked to well, I wouldn't call him a spy, but he's a good source of information because he lives back there. The guy said, he said, you know, in the paper I see he was alone in the truck going picking mushrooms. Hell, I passed him on the road. There was another guy with him because 15 minutes later he said what time he took that video. There was another guy in the truck and there was no side roads. You had to go around there, you know. So he lied about that. But anyway, it went, you know. And then, 80, what? When was this damn book published?
92.
Yeah, that was a black day in history. But anyway, after all this disaster, Grover Krantz decided, God damn, I better tell the world of my glory. And you think I'm fooling? Play that tape. Let's be nasty. Does it work?
Yep.
You know, if somebody would have a little bit of humility, but he doesn't.
Okay. Ready? Yeah. I'm Grover Krantz. I'm a professor of anthropology here at Washington State University. I teach courses in dealing with physical anthropology, introduction to the subject, human evolution, human races, the human skeleton, and sometimes seminars on advanced subjects. But they weren't mirror images. One of them was obviously crippled. I analyzed those, and this was back in 1970, and finally decided that the design of foot that's implied by the crippling was exactly what you would expect for a creature about 8 feet tall and enormously heavy. And I finally decided if somebody faked that and put all these subtle hints of the anatomy design in that, he had to be a real genius, expert at anatomy, and very inventive and original thinking. He had to outclass me in those areas. And I don't think anybody outclasses me in those areas, at least not since Leonardo da Vinci. And so such a person I'd say is impossible, therefore the tracks were real.
Shut it off. And you wonder why I'm on top of this guy? As I tell people, he reminds me of a dog. Which you want to pet him and be nice to him and he sneaks away, you know, you give him a piece of meat and you want to go closer and he goes away. Finally you get so pissed off you just want to kick him. You know what I mean? You can't make friends with him and he just annoys you so much. You know, look, in all fairness, I dedicated my life to this. And this, as we all know it here, I think, every one of us, if this damn thing exists, it's the biggest scientific discovery the world might have ever seen, right? I mean, it would be mind-boggling. The implication in so many fields, that would blow your mind. That would, as Napier said in London when I said to him, what would it mean if we find the Sasquatch, if it exists? He said, I don't even want to think about it. Because, you know, I mean, it's mind-boggling, so it's, some people, you know, it's Mickey Mouse stuff. But I truly think that Krantz, you know, you can, Green always says of Krantz, every time he falls in the hole, Green says, oh, poor Grover, he is so gullible. You know, after the 25th time when he falls in the same hole, you kind of wonder about that guy. And, you know, what really makes me mad is everybody talks about Grover and his book. Just because the guy has a PhD doesn't mean he also has brains. He's just trained in something. He just is trained in one particular field. And he steps out of that field. He is not even an amateur, he's a damn beginner. You know, I think that he really, I came to the conclusion that Grover, I mean that's the only explanation I can find, that he doesn't give a damn what's real or fake. He gets his name in print. The world is very forgiving. If a Sasquatch is found, they will all forget it. By the way, I doubt if there's anybody in North America who really, truly read this book. This isn't a novel. This is, oh yeah, he says here, scientific inquiry. Talk about using wrong terms. When you read the book, you read the first to get the, you know, the flavor of it, and then you go and dissect everyone. You read what he said on page such and such. Then when you get to it, what the hell was he saying over here? Totally something entirely different, contradicts himself, you know, from one page to the next. He made some, and of course all the Walla Walla tracks are in here. He said in Vancouver, you were there, on what was it, 82 or the...
83, I think.
Yeah, when Grover Krantz held this damn cast up here. I don't want to bring up the bizarre, barbarian bit again, but I love the term. He held up this cast and told the press, even if this would have been found in a garbage can in New York, it would be real. You know, he was so totally convinced. Maybe he was. And why Krantz also make the statement, this is really what gets to me, is his condescending attitude all through the book here. One of the quotes, lots of incorrect tracks being accepted as real by naive investigators. I don't know if this, page 7, I don't know if this guy ever looked in the mirror. He says, straight in line when running tracks. You know, there's nothing to do with running, they're straight in line if they're walking. What really got to me is, has to do with the straps. He talks about the, well, okay, one more. I really don't want to belabor the point here. I make whole lists of them here, and then I run out of paper and ink. I only can read Krantz's book every 3 months because it takes me that long for the blood pressure to go down. That is true. Now I want to talk about something to go back, the Walla Walla broken trees, right? And hair on the trees. Page 19. Tickners, green thing, Krantz quotes him. Tickners made the statement that he found all these little trees in Bluff Creek with broken tops on it. Bigfoot did it. He never saw a Bigfoot doing it, but he did. You know. So they came to Walla Walla. Now one of these two jokers, either Krantz or Tickners, told Freeman, said, you know, Bigfoot is walking through the brush, you know, get a flask on his shoulder, breaking off little tree tops. Sure enough, Freeman finds him too. And then they found hair on it. Twice or 3 times, turned out to be his wife's wig, from his wife's wig, artificial hair. I never paid any attention. I mean, you know, anything come from... So in '93, I spent a month down in Bluff Creek. I really wasn't thinking about little tree tops. But I was camped in a place there, And that was, it took about 10, 15 hour videotapes there. As I was videotaping along, I looked down here, and here are all them damn little trees here, there, and then I start looking with broken tops on it. And I got the video here, stick it in. But it was quite interesting. I thought I took a hell of a lot of it, but I didn't. So I start looking around. I can, if you go to Bluff Creek and mark it on the map, you can find stacks of little trees with tops broken off. I looked at them closer. I don't know if I say that. And each one of them is something wrong on that particular spot. I should have talked to the Forest Service. That's just the beginning. So I thought I better put that on, some crook gonna steal it. No. What's happened there? Oh. I don't know why I put that on. No, it's okay. Make it louder.
As I said, I wasn't here since 1985.
I don't know why I couldn't find the proper spot.
So, kind of glad to be back. Old hunting, stamping ground here. Over and out.
That's a junction of Bluff Creek and
Remember there's Green's book and so.
Okay, now.
They're talking about...
Lucky I had the video camera, otherwise I would have nobody to talk to when I was up there all by myself. It's true. I don't know if you can see it.
The Freeman.
Make it louder a little bit.
And also Titmus claims he finds them all over Bluff Creek. Well, nothing new.
Oh.
Right here where I'm camped, you see this here? There's a broken off one. Sorry, there's a broken off tree top, little tree top. Look at down there. There are all kinds of them there. There's that one. There's this one over here. There's this one there. There's another little one further over here. Let me go over here. There's this one here nearly gone. There's some of them down the bush there. Whatever. There's one of them over in here. Found one there. I found another place where there's stacks, all kinds of little tree tops broken off. Let me come back to the first one here. See right here? See this one here? It seems to me I broke one off completely. It seems to me that there must be a weakness here in the stem. And then you got maybe a heavy frost, maybe a heavy snowfall, wind blowing, and it cracks them off. Nothing to do with Bigfoot whatsoever. Another one here in the shade, just over a little ways. Okay, see that? Then let me go over here. See the top of that one there? Where is it? Right there. It's about 30 feet, 40 feet up. Must have been a big Bigfoot walking by. Well, I see him at the end of the tape here. Over and out.
Yeah, just shut up. All kinds of this little thing, but never, ever, ever, ever tell a witness anything. Don't say to him, did you see any little broken tree tops? Or this, or that? Now, most people, most witnesses are really, quite honest, quite serious. But you talk. This isn't the only thing which Krantz and Titmus did, which really burns me up. What did Krantz do? He gave Freeman one of Ivan Marx's faked handprint. And you guessed the rest. Yeah, we forgot to bring the damn thing here. Larry, Freeman found handprints all over the place. And Krantz thinks they're real. Because he has them in his book and he sells them to the public. You know, then he also says, and in his book here, look, the difference between a guy like me or him or someone, there's a hell of a difference than a guy with a PhD. And I'm not being nasty here. The difference is that somebody who is supposed to be a scientist has to produce documentation for every statement he makes. If he says, 12 fingerprints expert examined that cast, I don't want to just read about it. If I ask, who are these people? And he doesn't gonna tell me. That's not scientific. You have to be able, right, to back up everything. That's why you have all these damn footnotes in the scientific books. You can go and check yourself. You see? You don't just throw out this stuff and here you are. Krantz in here says, page 19, Titmus has, he has a cast of 22 different Sasquatch. Titmus has 20 additional. Another 50 casts or imprints or footprints. He saw casts of 100 different Sasquatch. It's in his book, page 19. You know, if you want to be, you have to be factual. He says on page 32, remember he says there, I don't know, maybe you saw him, Patterson at one time hired this guy in Yakima with Ektachrome film, I have it, and he was out there making tracks. He made some tracks and then cast them. And he always told us, he made it, and he says, look, this, it was no sound on the thing, but he told me, he said, look, I made this so I can incorporate it in our little documentary he's going to make, you see? And he says, you can see what he was talking, you see, this is how, when you find tracks, you put the plaster in here and so on, then you wipe it off. And he goes through this whole bit, you see? Fine. But here Krantz says on page 32, which is not very good. Patterson made it cast, you know, and so. A few days later he filmed Bigfoot. Bullshit. Was months later he filmed this footprints cast making in Yakima, east of Yakima, back where he lived, and 3-4 months later he was down in Bluff Creek. If you read this, you think, yeah, right. You know? He makes statements about the Bossberg tracks, which are not correct. Page 22, he says he saw this, was very impressed that this Bossberg track stacked over the 44-inch wire there, which was very tight wire. A few pages later he says, when I got there, there was only one track left, the one that hadn't been covered up. And then also he writes, his students found Bossberg tracks in another place. No documentation, just one of his wacko students came and said, hey, go over, I found tracks over here when I came out of the bar or something. As a scientist, you do not put that thing in. He also made some wild statements about the Walla Walla watershed, giving the impression the watershed consists of 22,000 acres, whatever the hell it is, a huge area draining into this Milk Creek, isn't it? Yeah, okay. This huge area, there are ridges around, you see. In some places you have to use on horseback to patrol the area, other places you can drive up, and some places you can drive even through the watershed along the ridge, you know, a little on the side. So they gave the impression that you know, nobody could go in the watershed, that the impression was that they had 50-foot fence there, and armed guard with guard dogs, and my mother-in-law and everybody else, people out of there. You know, no such thing. You just parked and walked across the road and peed in the watershed. You know, nothing to it. So, well, you know, being sarcastic, but the impression they gave was that you had to write a letter to the president first, you know. I mean, gee. Another fascinating thing, the thermal ridge cast, remember? Page 84, he says that no other tracks were found with thermal ridges. How come if they were fake? Well, my explanation for that is very simple. Freeman didn't think that Grover or anybody else would take this damn cast and really examine him that close. You know what I mean? Then, of course, the Indiana cast here, you know. I may have marked some nasty stuff there, I'm not going to say. But anyway, what Doug did said, I have two special little bits and pieces which I know nobody, which I never tell anybody. That's how I can determine that the tracks are real. Well, he found in the Indiana tracks, you know, that he couldn't tell. Yeah, and then I don't want to belabor, but I really can't help it, feels good. He says in his book, page 241, every time I read that stuff, one of my functions has been to serve as a role model for them, his students. One of my major character defects is my honesty, again. It was never my intention to become the leading academic authority on Sasquatch. That's Grover in his book. The quality of my research is the source of my recognition. You damn right it is. And he says, and the same thing, I just fell into it. Yeah, right on his head. Sports Illustrated, 44, I got a copy of it here. That guy really did a hatchet job on him, but Grover says, he really bitches. He has a whole paragraph there where he's bitching about this guy writing this article about him. By the way, Grover there says he tried to take a gun on that helicopter to shoot the Sasquatch, and of course we all know Grover never said he would shoot the Sasquatch, right? Yeah, right. In the Sports Illustrated article, he says, you know, really just smoking. He said, this jerk, he didn't call him jerk, said that if we find the Sasquatch, myself and my wife, he quotes Krantz, that they will go down to a South Sea island. He said, we never said that. There isn't a word about the South Sea island in that article. I must have read it 20 times. Yeah, here. Page 244, I never said I will shoot the Sasquatch. Not an insane thing as any hunter, he writes, if we can find out where bears die, think about this one, if we could find out where bears die, we probably could find out where Sasquatch die. What the hell does Krantz think bears die? Does he think they packed their cheap suitcase and take a cheap flight to Acapulco? They die out in the bush. So we know where bear dies out in the, they die out in the bush, right? Well, we all know that the Sasquatch are also out there. And he wrote about this twice in his book. That if we really would find out where bear dies, we really could resolve it. He says in there, he said that in 22 years he spent $100,000 of his own money on Sasquatch research. Yeah, by going all around the world. He says here, publication of this book will make a modest contribution toward improving the situation, reliability of reports. Anyway, and then, okay, now, well, what the hell? This is one of the, did you know Krantz has the Gang of Four in Bluff Creek? In Walla Walla? The Gang of Four? He gives some names. You know, after I read that, I looked at the cover of the book here to see if his name was Beckshort. Where's this damn thing? Here. He gives this damn Drax names. You know, this guy's supposed to be a scientist, and he's in an university. Must be something in the damn water over there. And when all this went on, all this disaster here, what did the university do? They made him a full professor. They rewarded him. You know, that's just like a guy being in a mental institute. If he stays long enough, they make him the director. But, you know, look, this fellow is an adult. He's not a little kid. He's not Beckshort. He calls him the Gang of Four, right? He gives him names. Big Daddy. That's Thermal here. Earl. That must be Big Toe here. Look him in his book. Page 168, 69, 65. And then he has Wrinklefoot, you know. And so, you know, don't quote Grover Krantz ever. Because, but after all this went on, you see, now we come to really what really made me say all this. I wonder what morals and ethics the people have in Poland, starting from the president on down to the head of the anthropology department and everybody in that department. Internet, worldwide web page, worldwide. For sale, Sasquatch tracks. Talking about all these tracks. And their authenticity has been verified by Dr. Grover Krantz, the foremost scientific authority on Sasquatch. Here, you can look at that yourself. Punch it out. His authenticity, I looked it up in the dictionary just to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. That means genuine, real, right? As I said to somebody, if you buy a painting of Rembrandt and that it's authenticated by whoever it is in the art museum, you assume it's a Rembrandt painting because it's authenticated, right? Now when Joe Blow from Kokomo punches in this number here of this thing, says, wow, I get authentic Sasquatch tracks. What he's getting is the Walla Walla crap, selling other people's cast without permission. The Bossberg tracks, selling without permission. The handprints, Bossberg, Thermal, whichever that is, I don't know if the Big Daddy here, I think. Another handprint from Walla Walla. Who do you make check payable? Washington State University. And there is not one researcher who ever did anything on Walla Walla who accepts anything coming from there. You can only be a moron so long till one starts to doubt if you're not also a damn crook. You know? And not only does he sell fake tracks, you see, Green said this. Now, you know, I mean, I'm not the Weasley type. Green says, well, you know, remember last other year he said, how do we know that any of these tracks are real? How do we know that any tracks are real, made by a living Sasquatch? Which is true, but which is also not true, for the very simple reason, if we believe that the Patterson film is real, and I don't think there's any doubt that the tracks which were found there then would be connected to the creature. The tracks were there. If we believe the Patterson film to be real, then the Bluff Creek tracks are real, the 14.5-inch one. And all Bluff Creek tracks are consistent and uniform shape. They are not like this one here, where the little toe is back here, the next one is up here, and this one then over here. And all the Bluff Creek tracks, as you well know, just have this uniform shape. Sure, some of them are a little wider, but basically what, the 6 or 7 tracks which were found in Bluff Creek over the years, different sizes of tracks, had a uniform shape. I cannot believe that there are other Sasquatch in the rest of North America, or Pacific Northwest, in Oregon and Washington, all of a sudden come up with feet like this or this here. If the Bluff Creeks, the thousands and thousands and thousands of footprints having been found in Bluff Creek, if they're real, then these ones are all fake. Because I just can't believe that one species can have their foot structure so deformed, so different from place to place. Sure, some of them are wider, some of them longer, some of them this, some of them that. Somebody was talking about back there about the depth, really then I'm going to close, about snowshoes effect, you know, at one time we thought, oh yeah, you can tell the tracks are in the ground, they're so deep, and we didn't leave a mark, and I jumped off a log, and I had my Uncle Harry on my shoulder, which weighed 300 pounds, and we didn't leave a mark. Read it in some of the books. I made my tests in Bluff Creek back in the 70s, long ago. Well, it's very simple. My foot is about 33 square inches, okay? A 16-inch foot Sasquatch tracks is about 100 square inches, roughly. 3 times. So calculate my weight, 175, came to 550 pounds roughly for the big tracks. I was 175, 3 times the size of my foot, 3 times the weight would be 550 pounds, whatever, okay? Taking everything equal, if a Sasquatch is walking there weighing 550 pounds, he wouldn't go deeper in the ground than I am, because his feet are 3 times that size, right? So, therefore, what I showed down there, and I got a picture, was very simple, has to do with momentum. The faster, go down the beach, the faster you walk, the more you roll your foot, the deeper your tracks. You know, sure, weight has to do, but you cannot find, you have to, you know, I personally don't give a damn how deep they're in the ground. You know, well, I do. I'm not concerned with that. My concern always is when I look at tracks is, I want to know if this damn tracks are real. And I look at the toe position, I look at this and look at that. And as I said, starting here, when I gave my little talk about Walla Walla, where I really, that was in 87, talk about naive up to that date. Probably I'm going to say the same thing 20 years from now. Yeah. But I learned more about footprints from the wall of fake tracks Freeman found when I was there. Because I suspected they were fake, so I really took a look at it. And I realized what can be done, what he did, you see. So I learned all this thing. It's just like, as I said, if you never saw a fake Rembrandt painting, I don't give a damn who they are, or any of these other paintings which were forged, how do you really know if any of them are real? Did you see Rembrandt painting the damn thing? So that's the same with Sasquatch tracks. We have to have some type of standard, some type of measuring stick, like the Patterson film is everything is measured against that one. Every other movie ever been made and have been made and will be measured to a that night thing. The same with the Bluff Creek tracks. I think there were more tracks found in Bluff Creek than probably any place in the world over the years at the time. And we have to have some kind of a standard, some set of tracks where we measure all the other ones against it. Otherwise, every damn hole in the ground is a track. Anyway, any question? I don't think there are any. I think they said everything that happened. Oh, by the way, I don't want to bring that up, but rather, what all of you should do. Remember a few years ago there was this joker over in Germany who wrote the Hitler diary. Did you ever, any of you read it? Heard about it? This guy went there and wrote the Hitler diary, and then he had some other jokers who wanted to believe, sold the Hitler diary. Millions and millions of dollars disappeared. Some of the biggest publishing giants in the world got sucked into it. Read it, buy it, selling Hitler. And since I'm totally concentrated on Sasquatch, anytime I see a woman walking down the road with tight pants on, a little hefty, I do my anthropological studies. I do. I watch the way she walks and compare it to what I see on this damn Patterson film. When I read the book, whatever I do, I try to pick bits and pieces which might work. And what this book really showed, sparkle your mind, how somebody being so typical Freeman, this guy was so careless, so dumb, and he suckered in all these people. Because one guy started jumping around, and next thing you know, everybody in this damn thing got suckered into this thing. So it's a very interesting book when you want to compare some of the big hoaxes in the Sasquatch field. That's it.
Questions?
Have a look at the tracks here.
Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Do you think that some of the tracks you've seen are real?
They're the Bluff Creek tracks. 28th of August, 29th of August, 1967, up on Blue Creek Mountain. I got photos which nobody ever saw because, whatever. Hey, they look good. They're consistent. You even can see where they are wider here down there than they are up here. We even thought there were two 15-inch track ones there, because further up the thing kind of circled around here. 15-inch tracks were narrower here than they were down there. Someplace you see where all the toes to ground dripping, and then you see where they're stretched out. 52-inch step, which is a long step. I don't know. Bosberg tracks, which are very, very complex tracks, the crippled foot. But are they real? Because Marx was involved, so clouds that whole
Bossberg, yet they are very, very complex tracks. Napier thought they were real, I don't know.
Question?
Didn't somebody try to bait the Bossberg Sasquatch?
Huh?
Didn't somebody try to bait it?
Sure.
Whose idea was it?
Well, Titmus put some meat up in a tree and there was an old bicycle baskets there. We put apple and oranges in another tree. We figured he needed dessert after meat, you know. And I said to the other guy was Nicky, here's this damn piece of meat in. I said, you know, God damn it, that will make a good supper. We weren't sure if there was poison in it or not. I said, shit, we're not going to touch it, you know. What a joke that was. Well, it was interesting, you know. But, I don't know.
Question?
Yeah, Rene, have you felt that you maybe heard any screams?
No, never ever smelled anything, heard anything. In fact, I never found tracks of my own, except the Bossberg tracks where I was right there. But that doesn't mean anything. I spent all this time in the Pitt Lake area, over there, over in the Harrison Lake area, down in Bluff Creek, over in Bossberg, not just where the tracks were found, all over them damn valleys in there. I never, ever found a damn track myself. I never heard any screams. I never smelled anything. when I'm out there, I just, you know, I'm too realistic, I guess. I'm not from Ohio. But,
Another question here.
Yeah.
Don't you think that this Mr. Krantz is just making a good business out of all of this?
Well,
the more fake stuff comes up, the more money he makes.
No, I don't think it's the money angle, which either he isn't man enough to say, look, I screwed up. Hey, I did. Mission thing down here. So you say, Jesus Christ, I better learn from this and keep my mouth shut next time. You know? No, it's not the money. That's not his motive.
It seems to me that on purpose, I don't think he's a believer in the Sasquatch. He's faking this himself in order to...
No. I never accused Gogo faking anything, you know. No. But I think he might have, I don't know, publicity does an odd thing to people. Yeah. You know, maybe he just says,
money and publicity, that's what I think.
But what I don't grasp is that he's throwing these casts on them tables in his lab there. Incredible array of casts, you know, it's just boggle your mind when you look at them. And he stands there with you saw his smirk. His smirk on it, maybe it's his natural thing. And he never blinks an eye, he's not ashamed of it. I'm puzzled. You saw him, yeah?
Can you tell me that you have never said something tongue-in-cheek to a reporter? In all the times you've been interviewed, you've never said something?
No, not me. I usually tell him right blunt what I mean.
Okay. That's right.
No,
so he's not quite blunt.
If you think Grover was joking, I usually tell him right blunt what I mean.
Okay. That's right.
No,
so he's not quite blunt then.
If you think Grover was joking, do you think he was joking? That's what John Green says. He was joking on that tape. He was. No, he wasn't. No, that was pretty serious. Didn't you hear what I told you in here? Where he says...
But do you know that, Barbara? Do you know he was serious? It's your perception, Rene.
Perception?
Yeah.
Didn't you hear statements? I'm the greatest, I'm the biggest, there's nobody like me since Leonardo da Vinci. You know when Leonardo lived?
Yes.
1400 something to 1510 or something. So Grover, for the last 401, 56 years, thanks God for that. Somebody said to me, is there anything good you have to say about